What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. You know where you at. Yak Nasty Adventures in Fishing. And today, I got a real serious bait tip for you guys. And I think you guys are going to like it, man, and give it a shot. But before we get started, I want to thank Cheswold News and Tobacco. Yes, man, I loved working over there for a year and a half, I do believe, man, and I gotta say, great place to be. Stop by there if you're in need of tobacco products. You know what I mean? So, they have what you need, tobacco products and more at Cheswold News and Tobacco if you're in the area. Also, guys, we have a lot of cool happenings going on here for the channel, and here on out, you may just see a bit more of me. Yeah, we got some new developments, some new equipment to play with, a bunch of new stuff to talk about. And guys, after this video, we're going to do the pickerel finale. And we're just going to go through that tournament, how it ended up, and, you know, what place did I end up in at the very end. And, yeah. I'm telling you, that right there was an awesome adventure, 3-month long chain pickerel tournament. So look forward to that video coming. It's just a whole lot, guys. It's just a whole lot that's been happening. So that's why you have not been seeing me these last 2 weeks, I believe, 3 weeks. You know, I've been busy, I've been grinding, and at the same time, you know, moving ahead, guys. So Yak Nasty's looking up, looking like some awesome things getting ready to go down for the 24. So stick around, hit like, hit subscribe. If you learned something, hey, awesome. That's what we're here for. If you don't, that's cool too. Leave a comment. Let me know some tactics and techniques that you may know. And, you know, I might try those out as well. So, let's get into the episode, guys. This one's a pretty neat episode. It's about a bait that's very, very versatile, all right? You notice I fish a lot of versatile baits, things that I could tie on. I can use it 2 to 3 different ways. I don't have to just keep retying baits or grabbing different rods unless I have to, right? Well, this bait I'm talking about today, guys, is a swim jig. Yep. You know what I'm talking about. Look at that right there. Oh, yeah. That's what you want. Let me see, because you got to see the whole thing. Let me put that in there. I hope you see that. That is a nice one there. Oh, man. Now, the swim jig is a totally awesome bait, very versatile. You can go shallow, you can go deep, you can, oh man, you can just mix it up, you know, fast, slow, super slow. The swim jig, I'm telling you guys, the swim jig, I gotta be honest, needs to be tied on, like all the time. You know, I tend to keep one ready to go if it's not tied on. And the one I just showed you, which is the Beast Coast Working Man's Premium Jig. Yeah, I got that out my mystery tackle box, actually. That's my favorite swim jig. I have so many different swim jigs, but I also have a few favorites that, you know, I have confidence in. Baits that I've caught fish on, and I just know they work. So I'm going to show you those few today, and we're about to get into it, right? So the first one I showed you, the Beast Coast Working Man's Premium Jig right here. This is a 3/8 ounce. I think it's a 3/8 ounce. You can double check it though. But this jig here, you notice it's white. It has the accents in there, a little tinsel, you know, a little flash going on. And I have this paired up with a Rage Tail. All right, we got a little bulky body right here, and we have those kickers. And if you notice, this thing is set up vertical. all right? So it's just mimicking a bait fish tail as it's going through the water. These little kickers are kicking good, right? So it gives me some drag, gives me some resistance in the water, you know, to slow that bait down, keeps it in front of fish, in front of cover a little bit longer, all right? And at the same time, you can fish this thing on the bottom, all right? And then it just has that crawl style stance to it, and even can mimic a bait fish feeding on something down on the bottom. You know, you work it like a regular jig, and it just might look like a bait fish picking something up off the bottom of that water body. You know what I mean? So you can definitely mix this thing up, all right? So the first one I'm talking about here is just paired to that Rage Tail. I like to fish it with a pretty much shaky tip retrieve. Sometimes I'll do a straight back retrieve depending if I'm fishing it along wood cover, which is what these things are awesome at. You see we got the bait keeper, so you can throw this thing in all kinds of cover, all right? This particular swim jig, guys, it just works well with the Rage Tail. It kicks off the flash, and I love to use the white swim jig in stained water, dirty water, little muddy water. I mean, to be honest, that's really what you want to go with, is white or white and chartreuse, and you can definitely get something happening on this here swim jig, guys, mixed up with that Rage Tail. And I just love that action in these two set up here, all right? The swim jig is a very awesome bait. It comes through grass really well, comes through wood cover pretty well. I haven't hung up with that particular bait, I don't think, ever. So it's doing its thing, and as you can tell, it's pretty beat up, all right? And that, with the Rage Tail setup, is perfect for active fish, all right? Definitely perfect for active feeding fish. Yes, pay attention, because that's bait swim jig number one, all right? Now we're going to move on to swim jig number two. And this is an awesome bait. Oh my goodness, man. It has that natural profile to it. And I paired it up with this here 6th Sense paddle tail swimmer. And guys, let me break it down to you. You see the colors of this one more match a bluegill, right? All right, a small bluegill. The head there, it gives you a pretty good profile overall. And this bait does awesome paired up with the paddle tail trailer, all right? So this is a lightweight, I want to say this one's a 3/8 head as well, but it may be a little lighter. And if I find out before this video posts, I'll put it somewhere on the screen. But this thing here works really good in shallow water, shallow cover, all right? That lighter head, and then you get it set up with that paddle tail. I set it up with that Pro Shad color. It blends really good with that bluegill profile. You got your orange, you got your greens, you got your little whites, and nice little dots and patterns on this bait, guys. So this thing really gets it going in pretty clean water and stained water as well, all right? Don't get it confused. These fish can see pretty well in stained water. They see better than we do in that water, and they feel the vibrations on their lateral lines. And guys, this thing gets bit, all right? But this one here is my favorite, number 2 and favorite, all right, in cleaner water, all right? That paddle tail on this lighter head gives it that perfect resistance where I'm not fishing it too fast around that cover. It gives me a slower profile, a slower movement to really give those fish a look at it, and they go ahead and get it, all right? So that's why I got this paired up with the paddle tail swim bait, not a rage tail or a crawl style trailer, because I want that bait to pretty much stay in that water column for as long as possible. I don't want it fluctuating up and down unless I'm imparting the action in the rod, all right? And I will be getting into retrieves toward the end of this video. So, this bait right here, awesome, awesome bait, all right? And very versatile. You see we got that keeper right there. I mean, you see we got that weedless, look to it, because, we can fish that in all kinds of cover, guys. Grass, wood, brush piles, you name it. And that paddle tail just gives it that natural, awesome look and profile that you want in your bait. Great action right here with this Googan swim bait, or with this Googan swim jig. My apologies. All right. So my third favorite swim jig, guys. Now, this one's going to look a little bit different because I'm going to work it just a little bit different. All right. And that's going to be this one here. I know this is a Phoenix jig head, I do believe. But this is a very lightweight. She's been through some battles, guys. This bait has been beaten to all hell, all right? Let me just be honest here. All right, I got this paired up with that green pumpkin rage tail. And if you notice, guys, that skirt is sparse, all right? It's not a thick skirt like the Googan here. You see, it's got that body, it's got some fullness to it. It gives it that flare out, all right? This here is more sparse. You see, more plastic than skirt, all right? So the skirt in this case is more like an accent, all right? Just to help attract that fish in. And you notice we got the orange, all right, that yellow color, orange color wheel to it, and a little bit of green as it comes down to the end of these strands right here. So I'm telling you guys, this guy here is great in heavy cover, all right? Heavy wood, to be specific about it. I throw this setup right here, right into the thick of the heavier wood cover, the thicker wood cover, where you got your little scraggly branches and stuff like that. And this thing comes through it. It has less strands to really get caught up in that cover, or, be given more resistance up against that cover, and it'll just come right through it a lot smoother than a full skirt, guys. It is just amazing, the small details that you can put on this stuff and the reactions that you get from the fish. All right, so this is why I have this set up the way I have this set up. And I use this in pretty stained water to almost clear water, pretty clean water. All right, I give it the more natural approach, and it really works good in that slightly stained water up against that cover. You could throw around those docks, and you could really get fish to bite with this thing here. It's a super light head though, and it's not 3/8. I think this one may be maybe 3/16. But this one here is an awesome bait. And with that resistance of that rage tail, guys, this thing just kind of flutters in the cover, and it has just the right amount of resistance to have that bait fall slower around that cover and really get the attention of the fish, guys. So bait number 3, or swim jig number 3, yeah, this bad boy right here. You see the natural colors coming out right there. All right. And the 4th swim jig that I love to use, or should I say color, okay, because these have been different color swim jigs, right, is a black and blue. But this one specifically is a 1/4 ounce head. All right. I have a little bit heavier head on that black blue, because I can swim this, and I beat it up on rocks, as you can see, really dirty water, muddy water. This thing right here with that fuller skirt, you see it really has that action to beat it up. I trimmed up the weed guard right here, guys, because the way I fish it, as soon as I feel a little tick, I don't just set the hook, all right? With the black blue, I tend to wait and make sure that the fish has it picked up, or if I'm just tugging on a branch, do I feel a rock, all right? This is sometimes easier to use for the more finicky fish that seem to just want to nip at your bait, okay? And you have to try to dial in what's going to get them to totally eat it. But for starters, you have a tactic that will work. And I tend to fish this on the bottom. I fish it swimming, and I like to give it a little bit slower retrieve. And with these heavy kickers on this crawl, that is a yum crawl, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's a yum crawl right there. And with these heavy action kickers, guys, you just get those things just a kicking, and as you're pulling it along, and it gives a great amount of resistance, and you can fish this thing a little bit deeper, all right, to get those bites in the stained water, where, after a rainstorm and that water starts to recede, those fish start to jump back to that next level of cover or next dip in elevation, and you can fish this thing a little bit deeper. You can bounce it on the bottom, traditional jig style. You can swim it. You can even give it the shaky approach and, get some good bites, all right? But like I said, I like to use the black and blue in the darker water. It tends to work best under those conditions, guys. So these are the 4 types of swim jigs and 4 different colors. So you notice I use a different swim jig per color to get the result that I'm looking for, guys. And the way I really like to retrieve a swim jig that works really well for me is I'll throw it out there. We know it's going to probably drop faster than a foot a second, but she's going to drop pretty good. Then we just start reeling it, all right? Now, when I'm working shallow, real shallow, okay, and we're talking, 2-3 feet, even in a foot of water, guys, I tend to go with a paddle tail presentation, all right? And I like to go with the crazy kick and crawl presentation, all right? Because we're fishing super shallow, you want that heavy resistance. You can fish that swim jig pretty dang slow in the shallow water and keep it around that cover longer to really attract those fish. When you're really fishing shallow, you want that to just ride in the water. You don't want it to be up top surface. You don't want it in the bottom in the mud. You want that thing in a foot of water to hold its line at 6 inches, right? That's what you want so you can get that bite. Sometimes they want it real fast. You can get up closer to the surface, but I tend to get more bites, working it the way I'm talking about, guys. That's why I'm talking about it. So, I tend to use a paddle tail in that super shallow, stained water, that black and blue super shallow, and really work the cover. I like to throw up against the wood. I love throwing in the rocks, okay? I love to beat these swim jigs up, give them all kinds of punishment, get some noise going down there, attract these fish, and get the bite, guys. So these are what I am going to use up shallow, all right? Pretty good amount of resistance, something that I can also work on the bottom to give it that crawl look, all right, that crawl profile, and really get some good strikes on a jig, guys. it's really my favorite way to fish is a jig overall. Swim jigs, they're in that category. So it's a part of the way I really love to fish, to get those aggressive bites. And man, it can really make a day. You know, even one good bite makes a day. And it tends to get a better class of fish, guys. It really does. In comparison to just a paddle tail on your, you know, Texas rigged hook in that cover, even though that's one of my favorite methods as well. All right. Now, when I am trying to work that bait a moderate speed or faster, that's when I like to go with the Rage tails. All right. The Rage tails, they can give you a great amount of resistance. All right. Especially with your smaller weights, like that brown one here, that Phoenix. This thing here, that resistance just slows that lighter head down and gives it the action you want. And I also work this shallow, but I tend to bring it out toward the end of cover a whole lot. All right. So when those fish are staging up toward the end of those laydowns, oh yeah, I'll bring it right across the front of that thing and it will get bit. I've also thrown this thing under the overhangs because it just goes under there really, really well. And I've caught them in, you know, pretty shallow water, of course, 4 foot, 5 foot, 3 foot. And that jig right there does the trick. All right. And this one as well in stained water and dirty water. Not really so much the clean and clear water, but you can get bites as well out there. But you want this bait in your stained dirty water. It's white. It has that good reflective tinsel on it, and you can work this moderate and pretty fast. All right. And the faster you do it, those kickers give you some, and man, you will get bit, guys. Sometimes I'll throw it out there and just, if you see it's just lining perfectly up to a log or a lay down tree, I'll sometimes give it that straight retrieve, give it a few pumps, give it a couple tugs, and that will get that bait fish look, you know, so to speak, to really attract those bigger fish. And you'd be surprised. You will get babies biting on this thing too. So you will catch a good amount on a swim jig. You can fish a swim jig quickly, efficiently, and you know, if you're trying to fish a tournament, if you just want to cover water on a great fun fishing day, swim jig is going to work. All right, much like a square bill crankbait, you could just go out there, you could chuck and wind it, but you can also mix up your retrieves, guys. You can slow it down because maybe you think they're right here. You have that feeling, all right, that you get right before you get that bite, and you could just slow it down a little bit, right? You can let that bait fall. You can pick it back up. All right, you can mix up your retrieve with a swim jig. Man, pretty much like no other, guys. This thing, and it has that natural profile. You can get that skirt flaring out with the pops. You know, you can give it the what is it, the Alabama shake, and really get those bites from the fish. Get those great responses by shaking it and flaring out that skirt and getting those fish to bite. All right, so you can get a great reaction bite off this. You can get a great I'm just hungry bite. The swim jig does the trick, guys. So hopefully, guys, you like what you're seeing here in this video. If you learned something, go ahead and hit that like. Hit subscribe, guys. Leave a comment. Maybe you do something different with the swim jig that I didn't mention here. Go ahead and put it down in the comment section, man. Help somebody else catch the big one. And hey, you never know. It really might change someone's life. Get out there and go fishing. So I really do appreciate the patience. You know, working with Yak Nasty and these videos coming out. I'm loving all the responses. Loving all the responses in the comment section and on the Facebook Yak Nasty Adventures and Fishing page, guys. It's a whole community. Let's just keep it growing. Let's keep it going, guys. So, hit like, hit subscribe, stick around for a while. We got some adventures to come, and man, we're going to make some stories happen. So, guys, hope you learned something. Get out there, try a new technique, get you a swim jig, get you a few, try different colors, and catch a few fish, guys. So, until next time, tight lines and all that good stuff everybody says. Peace.